Sorry for the noise background, but that's part of living in a city.
Nobody with a question?
I'm sure you'll have questions after. I'll be here today and tomorrow, so if you don't think of your question now and you see me, please stop me and we'll have a conversation. But here is a question.
Hi, this is Mario Notaro. I saw there are problems with organic certification.
Yeah, well, the question is, there are still problems with certifying food grown indoors as organic. In fact, I would choose a different word. I would say they are inorganic. If you want to make a perfect diet for plants, the only organic molecule you need is nitrogen, and everything else can be off the shelf, perfect chemicals that don't contain heavy metals, that don't contain things that you don't want to get into your food. So what do you mean by organic? And of course, that in the United States, there are about 20 different definitions for what it means to be organic. It's a gimmick to make your crops sell for more money, because you can charge more, because you don't use pesticides. So when you don't use pesticides, what happens? You get pests, right? So when you get pests and half of your crop disappears, you have to charge twice as much if you want to make the same amount of money. And that's the gimmick of organic versus non-organic. When I say it's a gimmick, it's a sales pitch, okay? It doesn't mean that the food is any better. In fact, they've done nutritional studies for organic and industrial raised. There's no difference in the nutritional value, but there might be some differences in the contaminations. You might have heavy metals in the industrially raised food stuff that you don't have in organic raised. They don't use inorganic fertilizers, for instance. It's a difficult question, but I think indoor farming has to become recognized as being even better than that, because you control everything from start to finish. Pure water, pure chemicals, pure fertilizer. And when I say fertilizers, I don't mean the kind that they're using outside. The whole world has changed, and so the laws have to change with them.
I can actually add to that, because with the Association for Farming, we're having a project group which brings together many experts, people, companies together to make a kind of certification for the indoor farming. So that's, okay, I'm too. So that's, but here's another question.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Prof. My name is Giuseppe Marinelli. I would like to give a question. Considering that all this world is a part of a changing of paradigm completely, is it correct to say that talking about city, about human settlement, the problem is more in storytelling, in the narration of this kind of this changement of paradigm? I mean, as architect, my issue is how to apply this change of model, considering the history of the architecture.
Huh. Wow. We need a lunch and a dinner for a week. And then after I've learned what you know, then I can answer your question. Yeah, that's right. So in the past, I think when the golden age of architecture arose, after Corbusier perhaps, but maybe even before that, during Roman times when architecture was wonderful, it was designed for beauty and aesthetics, but not necessarily for practical. So as technology said, yes, you're having a wonderful building. The Romans actually invented concrete. Concrete pollutes the air because in order to make it, you have to drive off the CO2 from the limestone to make calcium oxide to make the cement work. So you can go to the Pantheon and still see it. It still stands. It was built, that was one of the first concrete structures ever. And because we use so much concrete in our construction, it's now viewed as a negative rather than a positive. So somehow we have to change the paradigm, as you say, for buildings that are built so that they can be deconstructed and reconstructed into something else with the same materials. You don't have to tear it down and destroy it. You simply, it's like Lego. You take it apart and you put it back together into something else. And so I think that's where we're at now, where we can do it. When we can do that, and we can trace all those materials back to their origins to make sure that they didn't pollute making those materials, that's the future of architecture, I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. If you have more questions, we have to move on to the next speaker. But Dickson will be here for 2 days, 1 day,
2 days.
for 2 days. So catch him if you see him, and buy him dinner. He likes it.
He likes to eat.